Hello class, I keep getting some questions about this compound interest formula and the rounding issues associated with it. And I think a lot of it is because if you're following along with your example, if you are doing this division and getting these decimals intermediately in the problem, that's actually the little approximate symbol should actually be right here because we've already approximated it once by doing this division and rounding right here at the 6. If you're rounding it anywhere less than all these decimal places it's giving, then you could cause it to have a rounding issue. And so what I said in the video when I made the notes is to just plug it in directly into the formula and use this directly. So if you have a scientific calculator or a calculator that allows you to use parentheses, you can literally just type this in as you see it. So 30,000 parentheses 1 plus 0.065 divided by 360. Alright, and then raised to the power of, remember you need parentheses here, raised to the power of 360 times 20. I can put it all in there directly from the get-go. Alright, and there's the number, 98, 98. And then rounding this thing to the nearest hundredth, I would have a 98 there. If you don't have a Texas Instrument or a scientific calculator, remember what I said you could use on that video was just a Google search engine. So if I take this Google search engine and I put in these numbers and then enter, and again there's the number that it gives me 2. Alright, the 98 again. Alright, so you can type these things directly in to the calculator. Or directly into the web page. Alright, so just be sure that this is a little thing that could cause it to be different. Make sure that if it tells you to use 360 like some banks do for daily, that you make that adjustment. But just don't round it more than once. Don't round it when you do the R over N. When you're doing this formula, don't round it here and then round it again at 1 plus and then round it again at the power and then round it again, because then it'll, when you start rounding more than one time, you start getting approximations. All right, and if you do have to do it like this, if you don't have a scientific calculator that can handle all the operations at once, make sure you're using a lot of decimal places. But like I said, just use a Google search box. Google can handle compound interest formula. It can handle all the formulas that we're going to see in chapter 8. Okay. Now, I also suggested that you guys create the spreadsheet. So I made a video showing you how to use Excel to make these spreadsheets. And if you take the time to do that, if you follow along with that video, now you've got an interactive spreadsheet that when these problems change, when these numbers change, we can type in there the numbers. So here's the 30,000. The rate was 6.5%. Notice the numbers are changing as I'm putting them in there. Compounded daily, they say 360 for daily, and there is 20 years. And notice when I get done putting all that in, there's place values. There's that number under the nearest cent, just like before. There's yield. Okay, the yield formula put in there as it was in that the notes. So like I said, if you take the time to plug in these formulas one time as you're making these spreadsheets, it's there all the time, and then you just plug in these numbers. These numbers are the ones I have highlighted in yellow. Every time I put those numbers in, it'll update for the problem that I have.